This is a standard Cherry MX Black. When you press down on its stem, it travels 4 millimeters. 4 millimeters of total travel from top to bottom. Keep that in mind. Now, this is the Blueberry 65. When you press into this, it can flex up to 6.3 millimeters. That is 2.3 millimeters more than a standard switch press. That means from the top of the key press all the way to max bottoming out on this keyboard, you're traveling 10.3 millimeters. What the what? You can force over a centimeter's worth of travel from top of the key to the bottom out. That is insane. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Scott K. Today we're going to be building the most flexible keyboard that I have seen so far. This thing is so crazy flexible to a point where it's bordering excessive. But if you're looking for that maximum deflection, look no further than the Blueberry 65 by Toffee Studios. I'm pretty sure this has more flex than the coil spring mounted Akko SPR67. You know, the super original idea that Akko came up with all by themselves. You know, the one they didn't steal from anyone or any channel. Yeah, that one. First keycaps and then now keyboard designs. Hide your kids, hide your wives, because Akko coming after them next. Anyways, that's my rant for the day. The Blueberry 65 is a very function-focused keyboard. It does that part very well, but it's definitely not perfect, at least the one I have. So let's take a look. So this Blueberry 65 is a pre-production sample, but it does look like it got beaten up a little bit before it was sent out to me. Inside of the box, looks like things were kind of strewn together as well. I mean, for a $379 keyboard, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed to see it like this, but I know, I'm nitpicking. But I got so spoiled by the likes of like the Link or the Haven or the Tenet. Inside, you got the components in their two respective boxes. One for the case and the other one for extras and a little box of gaskets as well. Let's hop straight to the case, shall we? The Blueberry 65 I received is the black version. Overall, it's a great looking board. Very simple, yet with a bit of flair, like this curved side. I really also like the PVD blue finish of this little Blueberry logo, as well as the weight inside the case itself. One thing to realize is that in order to maximize the flex of the board, the case is a pretty tall one, as you can see right here. So definitely use it with the wrist rest. What's also interesting is that for this price point, Toffee Studios decided to skip the daughter board and just go with the fixed USB on the PCB. Which means that they had to create this huge USB cutout in the back. I mean, look at it. It's so big. They did this so that the Blueberry 65 can also take multiple other PCBs from other vendors and keyboards as well. It's a novel idea. Flip the case over and you're greeted by this beautiful blue PVD steel weight again. And they also have this Blueberry wording written out in cursive across the weight as well. It's a really pretty design, but then I ran into this. I know that this is a prototype, but the machining marks on the weight is subpar at best. I mean, it's really rough. I actually noticed this type of issues across multiple areas of the case, like the anode failure right here, or just anode kind of rubbing off at the corners, like weird marking and staining at random spots. I know this is a prototype, but Toffee Studios even emphasizes quality and precise machining as one of the highlights. That's definitely not shown here. I mean, for a close to $400 keyboard, this needs to be fixed before mass production. I'm sure they will, but I had to point it out. One more thing, not sure why, but this keyboard has no feet. It doesn't even have like a cutout for the feet. So I grabbed some extras from another board and kind of stuck it on here. But if you don't have feet, the keyboard case will then make max contact with the desk, and you're going to be hearing a lot more of the desk than you want. I really hope they add some feet to the mass production version. Plus, you're also going to scratch up that beautiful weight pretty easily. Moving on to the components, Toffee Studios includes a plate and PE foam set that you see right here. The plate foam is actually very stiff pour-on type, and I didn't really see the need to use the PE foam. The keyboard sounds fine without it. In addition, you get two types of case dampeners. One is silicone and the other one is pour-on. Silicone will help control the case reverb better, while the foam will also have dampen that hollow sound more. So you get to choose whichever you want, depending on how you want to shape your keyboard. For plates, I received both the PC and the palm plates. Speaking of plates, they have quite an aggressive flex cut design, like the entire center is made to flex in and out. One of the reasons why the Blueberry is also so flexible. Moving on to the PCB, as mentioned before, you can use like 7 different types of PCBs with the Blueberry, including the KBD67 Rev 2. However, this one right here is made for the Blueberry, and it also has the matching aggressive cuts. You don't got really perky RGB, but you have down firing in the case that you decide to go with the PC bottom for that underglow. Plus, you got the standard, wait a minute, no hot swap here. Yup, this is a solder only PCB. For me, I like the adaptability to match and swap switches as necessary, so I decided to mil-max this PCB. It's a process of soldering these tiny little sockets. It turns any PCB into a hot swap PCB. It's not too hard to do and it actually yields excellent results if you want to try it out. The ones I'm using are the new Mil-Max 3305-1s. These are slightly shorter and have a shallower head, so it allows for a much sleeker integration and allows for the switch to sit flush against the PCB. Now, going into the build, you start out by adding in the pour-on gaskets. There are 2 packs that are included and one is actually thicker than the other. The thicker one is for the lower case, while the thinner one is for the upper case. For this build, I decided to use TX stabs for 1.6mm PCBs lubed with Krytox 205. Then I decided to use the plate foam since softer plates like this need some support for the switches. Then I ran into another annoyance. The plate foam isn't really cut out perfectly, so I had to actually go in with scissors and kind of hack it up a little bit. I think the design of the keyboard is good, but the execution so far has been pretty rough. For switches, I grabbed some lubed and filmed Gateron cream soda switches. These are interesting in that they have a milky top and they also have an ink bottom with a long stem, so it's like the ultimate Franken switch. But the result is a very smooth and great sounding switch. Like, it's a very prominent sounding ink. It actually sounds very poppy, so I really like these. And this is what it looks like when you put them all into the plate. Now, drop the plate in, assemble the top and bottom together, and you got this. For keycaps, I decided to go with the PBTFans Spark keycaps. I felt the dark and light blue motif really worked well with the black case and also helped to blend in together with that blue PVD. Remember what I said about the flex? Check this out. The flex is just so ridiculous. Like, it doesn't matter where you press, every corner or the center, it just flexes like crazy. It actually feels very nice when you're typing. So the keyboard design itself is great. The function of this keyboard is great. It feels fantastic. It actually sounds really good too. But I'm not sure why the overall finishing was so poor. I really hope that since this was an early sample, there's room for improvement for the actual group buy. I really do, because if those things are fixed, this would make for one great flexible FlexiFlex keyboard. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and I'll have more content for you in the future. Before I leave you, here is the final typing test. Let me know how you feel about the sound.